Hello. Hi. Um, so welcome to this session with Peter Duncan, who's a circus trainer for Barnaby Festival. I'm Abigail Gilmore. I'm one of the trustees of Barnaby Festival, and I'm really delighted to have Pete here today so that we can talk through some of the background and some of the things that he's been doing over the last week for Barnaby Festival as part of our digital online participation and learning program. Um, and Pete, we met, I was going to say slightly randomly, but I like to think of it as fate, at Treacle Market in Macclesfield, I think
We
in
did.
December. And originally, so we met then, and we found out that there was kind of a shared interest in giving people joy, I think, bringing people together, and festivals and learning and making people happy through circus skills and through other kinds of participatory activities. And it was at that point that I really thought, actually, we want to have some of this in the town of Macclesfield for Barnaby Festival. At that time, I was hoping that we could turn the town into a clown or something like that.
Town full of clowns, you said.
A town full of clowns, which it is most of the time anyway. But of course, as we all know, the pandemic arrived and changed our plans to have activities, particularly on the first weekend of Barnaby, June 20th, 21st, where you and your colleague Sharon were going to be helping to train and produce people who can make people happy all over the town. So we've had to think of another way of doing it, and I'm really, really pleased that we were able to make that happen. I wanted to ask you a few questions, if that's okay. First of all, I just kind of want to know a bit more about you, about your background, about how you got into what you do. So just tell us more about Peter Duncan.
So a long time ago, in the 1980s, I was a social worker and a psychiatric nurse and was looking at supporting people and families and how they worked. And in the early 90s, I was running stuff for the summer for play provision for young people with learning difficulties, disabled young people, all kinds of challenges they faced. And in the summer, it was great. There was loads of things to do. And in the winter, there wasn't. And we looked at social opportunities and activities. And we looked at circus as a way of including lots of people. There's lots of branches of it, lots of trust in getting people to work together. So weirdly, I set up a charity with some friends. And it was 1992. It's called Circus Eruption. And we have 50 teenagers. And in the rules of the charity, a third must be disabled. And we learned a lot. And some very brave parents gave their children the opportunity to learn circus. And that's still going. And it has lots of funding from Children in Need. And it's got a warehouse and a church. And then people have been supporting that. So that's been going. And from that time, I've been exploring how people learn, how circus could be used to support all kinds of different people in education settings and in therapeutic settings and in play, I suppose. So I work in nurseries with under fives, and I work with the University of the Third Age, so I work with over 60s. And I'm interested in teaching circus. So it comes from that, really, looking at circus as a way of learning.
Mm-hmm. And I think when we met first, you were telling us about how you'd worked all over the world, and with other people that were in real hardship and really difficult circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, within South Wales, I work with children who are having trouble, struggling to move schools, with children who are maybe having some difficult choices in trouble with the law. And internationally, people are working all over the place. I went to Minorca and worked with people who are working with refugees, people who are in very difficult situations in camps, people trying to arrive in new cities, new cultures and learn. So December, it seems a long time ago now, but in December, I was with Performers Without Borders, working in refugee camps in Greece, where there are a lot of displaced people and having activities that are in the moment. So behind you is quite a lot of trauma and you're not sure what's happening and getting visas and what's happening in the camp. So just being and playing and enjoying learning and laughing and being present is a really healthy thing. So I was with Flying Seagulls and Performers Without Borders to do those things.
Mm-hmm. And what is it? I mean, you've mentioned some of this already, but what is it that's particularly beneficial about circus?
Well, it's really good for you. I remember in the video I held up a brain and said it helps your brain. So learning new things is always good for your brain. If you juggle it, kind of wires your brain up, you get more connections in your brain. But any new learning is really good, and it's good for your body. If you think about people in the circus, acrobats and trapeze people, People are using all of their body, both sides, and knowing where your body is in space, and they get stronger and more dexterous. So lots of sports people using circus as well to be okay about performing. They might be able to do it in the gym and then performing in front of a crowd. But actually, all of those things around peripheral vision, catching stuff, reaction, grip. So there's all kinds of things that are really good for your body. And then socially as well, I think you could be creative and playful and create stuff with your friends. You can be in a team, physically learning and trusting each other. So there's kind of brain benefits and body benefits and social emotional benefits of playing, and seeing yourself as a learner, as someone who's part of something else, is a really good thing for you. It's good for your mental health.
I mean, you've mentioned the word learning and learners a lot. Have you got a particular approach to teaching?
Making people laugh is really good. When you laugh, you get more memories. It helps chemicals that help your memory. And so that's really good. You're more alert. But actually, the approach to learning is about, it's called learner-centered learning, starting from where people are. And if they get them some wins and some confidence, so that in the video I said, I can't do that yet, because people kind of disable themselves. If they go, oh, I'll never be one of them. You're really talented, you're really skilled at it, but I'll never be one of them. Actually, some small steps, and then they can surprise themselves and see themselves as a learner. So they get more confidence, I suppose, and then they get more motivated to learn more. So that kind of cycle of confidence and competence and motivation is really good. So I can't do it yet, but people say things like, kids go, oh, I failed. And I saw a teacher go, first attempt in learning. And they wrote it on the wall in big letters. If you go, I failed, it's just your first go at learning. We can stop and think about what happened and what went wrong and what you can do differently. So those attitudes about perseverance and grit and keeping going are really important. And people enjoying and celebrating the successes, I don't really mind if you can't juggle, but actually enjoying learning and getting there. That's true for really small people. I think they're really excited about learning. And when I work with my older people, they go, wow, we want to enjoy learning, and we want to try something new every week, and don't break anyone, and give us things that would impress our grandchildren. So I think that process of learning is really nice. And getting people to enjoy learning together. One of the bits, I'm really sad we didn't have a Town for Clowns, when families are learning together and seeing parents and grandparents and children having a go and learning together. So I put some bits in the videos about working in pairs and encouraging each other and high-fiving. To go, it's nice, it's really nice to learn together. It isn't a thing where you go, here's your children, off you go and do that, and I'll just stand and watch and maybe video you. But actually being involved as a family and learning, I think is really important.
And really important to Barnaby and to Macclesfield that we do bring different groups of people together and different generations. So, thank you for bringing that approach to the festival through the medium of the screen. How have you learned something yourself from producing a series of workshops during lockdown?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the resources were great. We went to a studio and filmed all the bits, and it was a very skilled team recording that. So we were playing around with how it would look and how we could do it. I've learned a lot more. I live on Zoom, sadly. I'm part of a network of youth circuses. There's 70 youth circuses in the UK, and we used to run big festivals with a big top and get everyone in the same place. And we'd run festivals for the workers so that they could all exchange ideas. And now we do it on Zoom. So once a week, we have up to 80 people on 2 screens of Zoom. And we're swapping ideas of what we can do, how we can teach online, how we can open buildings. So I've learned more about working online and what's possible, and the kind of technology and games you can play using all the buttons and things you can do on a small screen and how it works, and games you can play. You can play traditional games like rock, paper, scissors, and you can knock people out, and you can play very traditional games, but in a different way. I think playing is a really good bit of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the creativity that people are kind of rediscovering or applying to technologies quite simply is wonderful. That has got to be the upside of the pandemic, hasn't it? Yeah.
So the other thing is that people can see from all around the world. So I'm aware that although the festival is based in Macclesfield, I know people were watching in Poland and America because they're sending me messages about it. So that's quite an interesting thing, because I don't think they would have travelled to Macclesfield, but actually they've been part of it and they're engaged in the storytelling and the juggling and stuff. One was that the balancing video wasn't a sequence, it wasn't a flow diagram, it just said to play around. So that they said their children really enjoyed experimenting, not having a set of instructions, but just playing.
Mm.
The bit of the video, can we see the bit of the video where it's got where it kind of shows the problems and then people get set off to play?
I think we can show that.
Which of these things are like that? Is it the umbrella, or the broom, or a chair, or a plastic bag? Would a pen be easy to balance, or a ladle? And that is only half the problem, because then there's bits of your body. Where could you balance the feather on, or well, the object on your body?
I love that. I totally love that. Particularly the excitement of thinking about balancing a ladle. Yeah, and I did tune into that part. It was very, very accessible, and it made me feel like I wanted to go and try things. Whereas actually when you got to the bit with the juggling where you were making one thing go up and adrift from two other balls, that slightly frightened me. I find that slightly like, oh my God, I can't imagine ever being able to do that.
Well, you can do it. You can do it. I'll come to Macclesfield and we can stand side by side and we can do the thing with the ball and the ring and the cloud jumps over the moon. I worked with some physiotherapists in Italy looking at the mechanics of juggling and what happens to your hands and how it works. So we created a lot of games that are kind of little steps towards juggling, because having three in the air, yeah, a lot's going on for your brain and you go, ah, and then you drop them. But I kind of think it's part of it, learning through making those mistakes and having to go as part of that.
I think maybe that's part of it, about getting over the fear, and I'm sure that you've found ways of doing that, particularly working with older people. You know, I mean, I'm a bit older now. I find it not so much a fear of failure, but just the kind of frustration that you've been around for a while, you've got experience, and you want to be able to do something straight away. So
yeah, some things you can do straight away. Some of the balancing things I did with the cone. The paper cones are fairly easy set to balance. And some of the one ball juggling ones most people can get, and we can adapt them. We can have sponge balls, slower ones, we can work in pairs. Circus is really inclusive. It kind of had a tradition. It used to have freak shows and all kinds of bits of all sorts of different bodies and people, and it still has extraordinary people doing things, and there's all kinds of shapes and opportunities for people within the circus. So that's really nice. And most of the circuses, there's lots of circuses that are very committed to including people, whatever their challenges, whatever their abilities at the moment are. And that inclusive stuff is a really important part of the circus. So I'm pleased that there, and I'll come and teach you some more. Someday we'll have a feel for the people doing it.
So if people wanted to, having watched all of the workshops that you've put online and this, you know, this Q&A now, how would people carry on what they're doing? Where else can they go?
Well, they can go, if you go to Circus Works UK, there's the network, there's a map of every circus school in Britain. So you could just look on a map of Circus Works website and do that. We can sort out a link. So that's one. You can do BTECs and degrees in circus. So there are places in Sheffield and Bristol and London and Newcastle that are offering BTECs and degrees in circus, so that's quite exciting. The nearest one to Macclesfield is Circus House, which is looks like this. It's an amazing logo with a house. It's got a chimney and a door. And they're in Manchester, and obviously they're working at the moment for ways of getting people in safely and doing stuff. But they offer classes and opportunities to do stuff. So that's good. Online, if people are looking for videos online, you can be inspired. There's Contemporary Circus, crying out loud. I've got lots of films about contemporary circus, and you can see amazing UK circuses like Pirates of the Caribbean and Occam's Razor. So there are little 2-minute videos about them, and you can be inspired. Their circus is starting to tour, which is hopefully something we'll see this summer, and you can go and see them. And on videos, Taylor Tries, a woman's name, Taylor, Taylor. Her videos are really simple videos that are broken down, and she shows herself dropping them lots of times. So that seems quite an interesting thing. You can see someone getting it wrong loads of times before they get it right. So her videos are really nice. I was kind of channeling a bit of Taylor Tries when I was doing mine, thinking about how she presents it and shows the opportunities and shows the frustrations and breaks it down. So Taylor Tries is good. Contemporary Circus, what is circus videos? And there are lots and lots of little 2-minute videos like that. Or you could go and find your nearest circus school. Or people meet in a park. Northwich jugglers meet in a park pretty often, and people from Macclesfield travel to Northwich to come and juggle with us. So yeah, find out about it.
Yeah. So what's next for you then, Pete?
Well, University of Third Age is on Monday, and I've got some in the park who are hula hooping in the park to make sure we're far apart, and some on Zoom, and I'm training on Zoom. I've got more work every Thursday. I work with the Unconference, the UK Set Network. I've got some work in Germany, so hopefully I'll be traveling to Germany and doing that. And I've got some work in Ireland, and hopefully we're setting that up. So I've got a whole range of stuff that I'm excited about doing. And I go to the park every day and play. So that's what I'm doing this afternoon.
That's what I like to hear. Well, thank you so much for bringing all of your positivity and your skills and just your general loveliness to Barnaby Festival. And we really, really hope that we can work with you again. But people can play these videos, they can rewind them like the good old days of VHS, and they can practice their skills. And also, of course, we welcome comments, feedback from people that have been engaging with the workshops, and I think also we're looking for kind of questions and answers, or any questions coming in from social media. So you know, thanks again, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you for the opportunity to work, even if it was in all these little boxes. And hopefully I'll come to Macclesfield and do some more stuff when it's easier to do so.
Yeah.
I hope people enjoyed all the videos, and yeah, keep practicing.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.